Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of my NBA history recreated simulation thing. That's how I like to describe it, as it is a new day. So, you might have noticed, but I was wearing the same shirt for like the last 6 or 7 episodes because as soon as I finished one, I just wanted to do the next one because I'm absolutely loving the series. But it is a new day. It's actually only the next day, but I need to remind myself exactly what happened. Last episode, I believe, was Kobe's first year in the league. But what we are going to do is go into league history. We're going to go into NBA history. We can see that Shaq has won 2 MVPs in a row. I believe he got one in his career, and like 4 championships, I want to say. But don't quote me on that. But yeah, we'll look at the past champions. Oh yeah, and Minnesota Timberwolves are probably becoming the team that is the best team. But if you look, they have been in the finals for the last 7 years, but they've only won one title. They've been very unlucky. Obviously, the reign of Michael Jordan is coming to an end, unfortunately, in this series, but we still have some big names, and we have a few big names that have recently come into the league, like Kobe, that is going to take the mantle, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. But we've got like the likes of Hakeem, that's coming to the end because he was drafted the same year as Michael. David Robinson, I believe, is now into his 30s as well. Larry Bird has only recently retired in the last like 2 or 3 episodes. Isaiah Thomas, I believe, has come to the end, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. But obviously, we're going to start with looking at the draft prospects for the 1998 draft, and in there we have Dirk Nowitzki. We have Vince Carter as well. They're the two that I look at and are the main ones. I actually don't know who Antoine Jameson is, not going to lie, but the two ones that I'm going to be looking out for is Dirk, because obviously he's a big name in the league, and also Vince Carter is a very good big name as well. I'm trying to find my ball that I like to just kick about under my under my desk. But anyway, let's get into the simulation, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Realistically, I'd probably say that Michael has probably got like 2 or 3 years left, but it's not to the level that he has been. Obviously, in real life, he won 6 championships, and he's only won 2 in this. And it did take a while. It came to a point where we're thinking, is he actually going to win anything? But luckily for him, he has, and he is still a big champion. And maybe not considered the ghost in this, the goat in this simulation, but. Oh God, the Knicks are losing a lot of games. They're 18 to 50. I just saw their record go because you can see it down in the bottom left, which is that way. But yeah, David Robinson wins MVP. I believe he hasn't won it in a few years, so that's huge. Obviously, he moved from the Hornets, no, not the Hornets, the Heat to the Timberwolves, I believe, and he won the championship with the Heat, and then in his first season he helped the Timberwolves win their first title against Heat in his first season, which is incredible. So shout out to David Robinson, who is a huge name in the league obviously this year. Tracy McGrady picks up the Rookie of the Year. I actually can't remember who was in the rookie team, but we'll see the Rookie team of the year in a sec. Sean Kemp wins Sixth Man of the Year, another Timberwolves player. Tracy McGrady playing for the Pistons. Shaquille O'Neal winning Defensive Player of the Year. This is the first time that he's not won MVP. He's won it the last 2 seasons. He is playing for the Vancouver Grizzlies, who become the... No, not Minnesota. Memphis Grizzlies. Sean Hollins has won Most Improved Player for the Knicks, which is interesting. Coach of the Year is Eric McLeod. He is the Timberwolves coach, which kind of makes sense, and we don't care about executive. So let's have a look at the All-NBA first team. We've got Jason Kidd in there, who's 93 rated right now, playing for the Milwaukee Bucks. We've got Allen Iverson, who I believe this is his second year. Is it second year? Yeah, it's his second year. Averaging, wow, straight away in his career, in the first 2 seasons, he's averaging 37.5 points per game, which is fantastic. Joe Smith for the Supersonics, don't know really much about him. 90 rated, Allen Iverson is. Vin Baker, 87. And David Robinson, of course, 96 rated in the first team. For the second team, any notable ones? Abdul Rahim, Steve Nash, 84 rated for the Pistons. Scottie Pippen is in there, and Hakeem is In the second team, repping the two Hornets players. Shaquille O'Neal is in the third team. Finley, Malone, and Wendell Howard, who plays with the Grizzlies. All defensive, Michael Jordan is still 90 rated, actually. That's not too bad. I thought that this might be the first season since the start of his career where he is under 90 rated, but he's 35 years old. Still got 4 years on his contract, in fairness. Scottie Pippen in there, Jason Kidd, Derek McKay, who's done very well for the Magic as well, playing alongside Michael, and obviously Shaquille O'Neal, who's 95 rated, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen a player that's gone above 96, including Michael. All defensive team, you see it on the screen right now. A rookie team, we've got Tracy McGrady, who plays with the Pistons, who got Rookie of the Year. Got Tim Duncan, that's one player that I've been looking forward to seeing. So he's 87 rated, which is brilliant. Chauncey Billups, who plays for the Bulls, alongside Allen Iverson, 79 rated, not too bad. He'll get better. And Steven Jackson and Rodney Howard. Second team, no one really of note there. But if we advance, we are going to look now at the NBA standings first. So we'll actually look at the Western. We always look at the Western first, and I think it is an era where the Western is going to rule supreme. We have obviously Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, we know that they had a great record because their coach got the Coach of the Year. But I didn't realize it was that good. 81-1. They won. Look, they lost one game all regular season. I'd actually like to know, team card, can I see who that was against? It was against the Supersonics. Oh, well, it actually says who the highest point player is in these games. Oh, that's interesting to look at. I wish I knew that earlier. But even still, to be fair, Supersonics have done pretty well. Who do they have on their team that makes them good? They don't even have the greatest team. They just had a very good year. 49-33, that's not too great, because especially when the next team above them is Vancouver Grizzlies, with obviously Shaquille O'Neal in the team, Wendell Howard also in their team, and Chris Mullin as well. That's pretty good. And Rick Smits. They've got a very good squad, to be fair, Grizzlies. Yeah, it's turned to the Western because we had the dominance in the last 10 years on the simulation of it being the Eastern. Now it might be switching over. Even the Lakers have actually managed to get into the playoffs. They've actually got a couple of good players now, Eddie Jones and Michael Finley. But no, this is very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Denver Nuggets in there as well. I'm pretty sure they have a good player. Ray Allen, that's who it is. But yeah, the Timberwolves at the moment do probably have the best team. Kevin Garnett is in there, David Robinson, obviously. Yeah, they've got a very good team. Even Shaw Kemp as a sixth player. Even Divac is a good player as well. I've seen his name pop up a few times. Teams haven't missed out. Clippers need a good player. They need to just start building upon that. But anyway, let's go into the Eastern now. And we see that the Boston Celtics are the worst team in the Eastern. And yeah, their lineup, they've gone really downhill since Larry Bird left them. And that was all these years ago. Atlanta Hawks, New York Knicks. I thought they had like a decent player. They got Hot Rod Williams. But I think Hot Rod Williams is 35 years old now. He's been at time. I thought they had a decent player. Did they have the most improved, I think? I think so. I actually don't know. 76ers have changed their badge. And they've changed their team considerably. Chicago Bulls have missed out on players with Allen Iverson and Chiefum. Oh, that's one thing I need to check. Which side of that? I think are they Western? The Rockets are in the playoffs with Kobe Bryant, who is 87 rated. I thought it might have been a bit higher, but he might be a bit higher after the playoffs. But he is in the playoffs for the first time. He missed out in his rookie year. Milwaukee Bucks have made it in with Jason Kidd as their main player, but I think he's going to go through a period where it is like Michael Jordan, where he doesn't have the greatest team with him, so he needs to think about moving. Because it is very hard to build a team when it is just one good player. But obviously, if they keep getting the playoffs because of that one player, they're not going to get a good draft pick. Meaning, in fact, they've got to use the free agents, or their player has to leave because the team isn't good enough. The Nets got the Washington Wizards now. They were the Washington Bullets, but they've changed. They got Vin Baker, 87 rated, nice. Cleveland Cavaliers. Tim Duncan is in there, so that explains that. And they've got Oscar Bradley, who seems all right. So that's interesting enough. Charlotte Hornets are starting to drop off now. Oh, yeah, they are starting to drop off. If you think about their team about 5 years ago, where 4 out of 5 were 90 plus, and then even the fifth was like 89 rated. Reggie Lewis is 32 now. We've got Scottie Pippen, who's 32 now. You've got a larger one who's 35 now. Derek Coleman's 30, and he's not even good. Strickland 31, so it's an aging team, unfortunately. Even like Abdul Ralph, who was at the Knicks 4 years ago now, he's 29 years old. He's not getting any younger. So this is a team, but unfortunately, it seems to be dying off. They do have Kenny Smith, though, who has joined from Orlando Magic, actually, before joining from the Cleveland Cavaliers. But interesting. The Raptors obviously building a nice team. They've actually got some really nice players, but third seed is going to be tough for them. Miami Heat second seed. They've got still a very nice team, and they probably should have won more titles by now. But they still have Isaiah Thomas. I thought he'd a bit worse than he is, but they've got some good players. Tim Hardaway just can't seem to get to 90 rated, which is interesting. But they've got Brad Doherty, who is 32 now, and even Tim Hardaway is 31. But these are their prime years, early 30s. It's not like football where once you reach 30, you seem like you're past your best. But Orlando Magic actually are top seed, which I did not expect, especially with Patrick Ewing down to 87 at 35 years old. Obviously, Michael is 35 years old as well. Got Ron Harper, who's 34. This is an old side. McKay 31 and 30 for Glenn Rice, but it's a team that did get top spot, and we know how important it is. But are the Timberwolves just a bit too good this season? But one thing we will do is quickly look at the season stats and see who the league leaders is, and it is Allen Iverson, as expected. That is the top goal scorer, top scorer in the league, averaging about 5 points a game better than the next player, which is Jason Kidd. But like I said, these are teams that I literally have one, maybe two good players, because the Chicago Bulls has Chauncey Billups. But we've got Joe Smith in there. We've got Steve Nash up there with the Pistons. That's very good for him. We've got Vin Baker, Ray Allen. We've got Tim Hardaway, Penny Hardaway, not Tim Hardaway. Whereabouts is MJ at the age of 35, pulling up 22.5, but he's been averaging about 22, 23 for the Magic. What he did was sacrifice his own personal stats for championships and to be in a good team, which I think is honourable, to be fair. In real life, though, he was still putting up crazy numbers, but he did have a good team around him with Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, players like that. Even like Steve Kerr was a good player. Patrick Ewing up there is in 17th. That's decent. Elijah 21st. Shaquille O'Neal, now that he's actually in a good squad, like he's about half his points per game. Still getting a good haul of rebounds, but last year was brilliant. But 95-96, 38, touching on nearly 40 points a game in regular season is incredible. One thing I did want to check, because obviously we figured out that this is a thing now. If we go onto Orlando Magic and we go to schedule, we can see who the highest point scorers, and most of the time it does seem to be when they played the Hornets, Scottie Pippen against MJ. But in recent times, and most of it, like a majority, is MJ, but right at the top towards the end of the season, going towards the playoff, MJ just pulled through to try and get that top spot, which they got by only one game to the Heat, which is interesting, and only 2 to the Raptors, and only 4. Maybe the Eastern aren't over yet. But anyway, we have some interesting matchups. Let's simulate around and see who is out. So the Wizards are out, Trailblazers out, Nets out, Bucks out, Rockets, Mavericks, Cavaliers, and Nuggets. So what we can take from this is the Grizzlies are through, the Timberwolves are through, the Lakers are through, interestingly enough. The Rockets, unfortunately, are out, which obviously are... Wait, what? It was Shaq versus Kobe. Interesting. What was Kobe averaging this season? I didn't even look. But anyway, on the other side is Orlando versus Charlotte Hornets, and it's Miami versus Toronto Raptors. So it's the top four seeds on the Eastern, and it's the top four seeds in the Western. So we're going to simulate round, and it looks like Charlotte's time is over. It's an old team, and Orlando Magic, Miami Heat got knocked out by the Raptors. That's interesting. Minnesota versus the Grizzlies. So it's Shaq versus Robinson, and it's MJ versus... Who is it? It's MJ versus Morning or Mashburn. They've got a good team, even though I don't know anything really about them. But anyway, let's now simulate through game. So it's 1-0 to both the top seeds. It is 1-1 in both games. It's 2-1 Raptors. It's 2-2 in both. It's 3-2 to Raptors. It's 3-0, but it's 4-2 to Minnesota. So Timberwolves, for the 8th year running, are in the finals. But is it MJ's last real chance? We are going to go to Simcast, and we are going to see, because it is 3-3 in this series. It's been a good game so far for the Magic. And it's all over. And if we look at the box score, it is Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing and McKay. To be fair, it was just a great team effort, in fairness. And that is one thing that the Magic have been since MJ moved there. They've been a very good team and shared the board quite nicely. But if we go to the Raptors, it's an interesting one. It is a very interesting one. But we do have the matchup that every time that this has happened, it's been the Magic that has taken it. But I have a feeling that it's going to be Timberwolves. I think they're just going to be too good for them this time around. For the first time ever, the Timberwolves have actually taken a game off Magic. But it is 1-1. They are fighting back. It's 2-1. It's 3-1. And we are going to go into Simcast. Sorry, someone just popped my Timberwolves are winning, but Magic are clawing it back. They are ahead. Are they going to take it to Game 5? Yeah, they should. And it is over, and it is Michael Jordan with 33 points. Only 1 assist, 1 rebound, and 1 steal. But he hit 15 from 23, meaning that it will go to... Oh, actually, this only to a Game 6. That's weird. I thought that. So Magic need to win again if they want any chance of getting the title here. But it looks like... It does look like it's going to be the Timberwolves, and it is by 1 point! Well done, Timberwolves. They won it last year, so we didn't really need to see that. But the Timberwolves won it, and it was David Robinson, which is iconic because... Michael Jordan got to the finals, and for the first time ever since going to the NBA finals, he has lost a finals. He's never lost an NBA finals in real life and in the simulation. So that is huge. By 1 point, I want to have a look at the box score. So game 1 was David Robinson and Michael Jordan going at it. In game 2, it was Ewing. Michael Jordan only played 16 minutes and got only 10 points, but to be fair, David Robinson... It's still good, though. Game 3, Michael obviously hit back. Oh, no, but in a loss, actually. Kevin Garnett actually did very well. Game 4, we saw that Ewing and Jordan did very well. In Game 5 was the Michael Jordan sensation. And then Game 6, by 1 point, despite Kevin Malone actually Karl Malone, I should say, putting up 32. The Timberwolves have won, and they have won 2 in a row after getting to the finals for 8 successive years, which is absolutely mental. But you know the drill by now. We are going to see who is going to be retiring. And obviously, we're going to be starting to see some big names retire. Maybe not this year. Tell a lie. Right, let's see who does well in the draft. Everyone likes to see who gets a good draft pick. Skip. Boston Celtics get first pick. San Antonio Spurs and Atlanta Hawks. Knicks in 4th place. They could get someone decent. But anyway, let's skip through the draft and see who actually signs for these teams. So, Mike Bibby has gone to the Celtics. Dirk Nowitzki has gone to the San Antonio Spurs. Vince Carter has gone to the Hawks. And Antoine Jameson, who I believe was one of the top scouting picks, has gone to the Knicks. So, that could be a pretty good one. Vince Carter and Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk has gone to the San Antonio Spurs, which is probably the biggest one. But yeah, that's pretty big. But we do have a few other things to cover in this episode before we finish. And the biggest one is probably just basically where anyone goes. Jason Kidd is restricted, so it is unlikely that he's going to be moving away from the Bucks. We've got Sean Kemp, who's 90 rated. That's decent. I don't know too much about him. McKay is going to be leaving the Magic. Penny Hardaway. Abdul Ralph, it might be leaving the Hornets, but it does say no offers at this moment in time. Smits also might be leaving the Hornets. I think he was at the Hornets. Or was it the Grizzlies? One of them. Patrick Ewing, at the age of 35, looks like he could be leaving. He is down to 87 rated. Isaiah Thomas also is an unrestricted player. Chris Mullen, yet again, unrestricted. He seems to be moving every season. Kenny Smith down there, 84 rated. Divac as well. There's a lot that are just on short-term contracts, so we're going to be able to see exactly who does leave in that time. To be fair, the best way to do it is actually, it might be the best way to do it. Let's go to all players, and we'll see if any have actually changed. We know about that. Jason Kidd, as expected, stayed with the Bucks. Allen Iverson wasn't part of that. Scottie Pippen has stayed. Kobe Bryant is now up to 91 rated at the age of only 19. So he could actually be the first player to go above 96 rated, which would be huge. 90 rated. Tim Duncan. Hardaway. It looks like Michael Jordan is down to an 86 rated. Yikes. Smits is a free agent. He didn't sign for anyone. Abdul Ralph has gone to the Grizzlies. Holy, okay. Patrick Ewing stayed with the Magic. I can't remember if he... Divac is not gone anywhere. Isaiah Thomas has gone to the Magic. Fair. Dumas is looking for a team as well. But there's some interesting things about Michael Jordan down to an 86. Obviously, he's come to very much to the twilight of his era. But yeah, it's been a very, very, very good episode, I think. Well done again to the Timberwolves. They did absolutely fantastic. Was that Michael Jordan's last trip to the NBA Finals and last chance to get that 3rd championship? Who knows? But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap things up. If you guys have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, Graham. But until next time, goodbye.